everybody, how are you? Welcome to the Pure Motivation Podcast Show. My name is Coach Dimitri, and I'm here to motivate, educate, and inspire you on living a healthier lifestyle. Now today, I have a special show, and I want to give you guys some nuggets and some actual tips that you can use in your life to improve self-mastery. I've got 6 tips for improving self-mastery after 40. Now, why do I keep mentioning this after 40 thing? Why is it a big phase in all my videos and most of my topics? Well, you got to understand that many adults fail to be able to not only continue a fitness in their lifestyle, but they fail to start a fitness journey in their life. And when you hit that 40 mark, that's almost like a teeter-totter when you're on the fence. And you have to make a decision, not only for you, but your family and your spouse. Are you going to make a change in your lifestyle? Are you going to improve? And most of us, if we're lucky, I'm going to live to 105 and I'm going to make sure I have videos going to 105. But if I don't, and we live to 80, 90, if you cut that in half and you got that 50 mark, well, when we hit that 40-year age, we start getting nervous. We start having pressures of life. We start having all the buildup, and we start having sometimes neglect. We have trauma from our past affect us, and it affects our decisions, it affects our habits, and ultimately affects our outcome. So tip number 1 is accept your life's reality. Okay, now what do I mean by that? I had to learn at a very young age, at 10 years old, from my mom that my father is not going to be around. My father abandoned our family before I was born. I never knew that he suffered from mental health issues. He had a car accident when he was 19. He was in a car with 3 of his buddies. He got into such a bad accident that the person in the backseat died. The person next to him was paralyzed, and he was in a coma for 4 months. So coming out of this coma 4 months later, he wasn't the same person. His brother and sister didn't really pay attention to what was going on. Back in those days, we're talking about 40, 50 years ago, mental health wasn't a big thing. And when his own father died in the war, his mother abandoned him by remarrying to some wealthy guy, having 2 twin girls, basically just abandoning the 2 brothers and sister that he had. You can see that trauma from a young age leads up. So now when my mom met him, she had no clue of this background. And after 6 years of being with my brother and my mom, he must have hit a switch in his life, said, you know what, I can't be around with this family. I can't stick around. And he left. He abandoned my mom, St. Joseph's Hospital. That's where I was born, 46 years ago. It's still tough sometimes now when I hear Father's Day, when I look at, other guys my age or even younger kids, and I see 2 parents and they're loving, and I'm like, wow, that must be amazing. And growing up, I had a chip on my shoulder where I had resentment, I had anger. I had like this poison in me, and it couldn't get out. And it wasn't until I was called from my father's family 2 years ago and was told that, listen, we haven't reached out to you, and it's been 44 years, and we understand that you may have hate for us, but your dad's on his deathbed. He's in St. Joseph's Hospital, the same hospital that I was born at. Okay, what a coincidence. And if you want to come see him, you can. So I made the decision not to go see him because I had so much anger in me that I didn't want to bring out that anger when someone's in a hospital. And I said, you know what, God, I'm going to go visit him when he passes. And I went to go visit him when he passed. And then I went to see him. So imagine meeting the person that made you in a coffin. You go to a funeral, meeting your father for the first time. That's a little mind-blowing. And then coming home, I told my wife, I'm going to go to his home and I want to see where he lived and what happened. And the one thing that blew my mind was he had pictures of me all over his wall. Bodybuilding pictures, pictures of me and my wife, pictures of me competing. And it really made me angry, confused, stressed. I didn't know how to deal with it. And I'm like, why would this person abandon me but still have pictures of me and still talk about me? Okay? So after an hour and a half of bursting in tears, just letting go of all this anger to my wife, thank God she was there, I felt all this poison relief from my body. I felt a pain and this resentment that I've kept for a man called my father go away. So when I tell you to accept your life's reality, you got to tell yourself that you got to stop hiding from your past. And you got to stop letting your life story be something that you cannot rewrite. If I would have grown up and I would have had a chip in my shoulder and I wouldn't want to get into sports and I would have used, my dad left me, well, there must be something wrong, I may not have had the life I have. Until I said, listen, this is your life. Accept it. Be happy with what you have and work with it. So if you can't learn from tip number 1, it's going to be a shackle that's going to keep you down for the rest of your life. And if you learn to break that shackle and get over your life and accept your life as a reality, you'll become a better mom and dad. Number 2, use your past pain or trauma to fuel you, not fail you. I don't care where you're from watching this video. I don't care if you're a member of my studio, if you're an online coaching client, if you're somewhere from around the world. We all have trauma, from physical trauma. It may be something that happened to you when you were young. Could be an accident. You could have, had something change your life. It could be an emotional trauma. It could be a verbal abuse that you've had growing up. One of my members told me yesterday, one of our most successful members this month, that his parents were one of the main reasons why he feels he's had such poor health choices, because they always put him down and they never raised the guy up. And also psychological trauma, okay? I had psychological trauma growing up. My brother and I would scrap all the time. Why? Because you got 2 men trying to work together with a single mom, growing up in Ontario housing, growing up in the filthiest areas of Toronto, and we had to deal with. If I would have let my past trauma fail me, I wouldn't be here giving this message. So you want to make sure that you change the story. And what I told myself as a young boy growing up, I said, you know what? God's got a plan for me. He told me that He's going to help me in some way. I'm somehow special. I started playing a story in my head. I was creating a new version of me because I did not want to go around having to feel negative explaining my story. You also got to look at viewing your adversity as an accomplishment and not what's happening to you, but for you. I'm going to use what happened to me as my motivation to drive me forward. I'm going to use the fact that my father abandoned me and I said, I'm going to beat everyone that I compete with. So when I got into sports and I got into competitive swimming between 10 and 14, the only thing that made me proud was my medals. So I used my trauma and my pain to level up and give me ammunition to work forward. And if you don't do that in life, guys, you're going to struggle and you're basically going to be carrying a sack of bricks on you, which you don't need to. Number 3, you need to be determined and have a strong vision, okay? Arnold Schwarzenegger right up there. I'm not sure if you guys can see. Get the camera to zoom in there. If it wasn't for that man to be in my life from TV, watching him on TV and watching the movies he's done and listening to him constantly say, have a vision, have a goal, set a goal for yourself. If it wasn't for me seeing him have a vision of going from a young guy, building his body, getting into competitions, and they wanted to become an actor, they wanted to become a politician, I wouldn't be here because I had to set a goal and to be committed so I can turn the switch on and off. Because you see, motivation isn't a switch. You can't say, I'm going to be motivated today, turn it on. What happens when shit hits the fan and the motivation switches down? You have to have a vision or goal. So whether it's you want to become a great parent, you want to lose 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds, whether you want to get into a relationship, whether you want to change your career, whether you want to speak to someone that you're nervous about, you need to have a proper vision of where you want to get to. Because when it's dark, when it's gloomy, when it's raining, when it's pouring, when you're in that place of fear, anxiety, overwhelm, the vision is going to be your light to carry you through. Without seeing, feeling, hearing, or having a clear goal of what you want in life, it's going to be a should versus a must. When I competed for my first bodybuilding show in 2001, all my friends were saying to me, you can't do it. All my buddies in the gym that I was competing with, you can't win, man. You need to be on drugs. And the more I kept hearing that, the more I kept going back to my vision of saying, you know what? Although my dad abandoned me, I'm going to become a natural drug-free bodybuilder. And I'm going to win my first show. And I kept using that over and over, and I kept rehearsing it in my head to give me fuel to keep going. If you don't have a vision of where you want to be, if you want to lose 50 pounds and you can't close your eyes and see your body, see yourself in a tank top, see yourself playing with your kids, enjoying yourself, see yourself have confidence to stand in front of a group of people and talk without having a sloppy body, without being, looking in the mirror and saying, I'm disgusted at myself. I'm 45, 50, 60, and look what I've done to myself. You can't make a change. Keep these 3 R's in mind. You need to be resilient. You need to be resourceful. You need to be relentless. So you got to be resilient to not let setbacks get you down and derail you. So you have a bad childhood, work on, move forward. You tried to win at a specific event, you failed, go back and try again. I competed for 9 years, from 2001 all the way through 9 years. And I've had first place, second place, third place, ninth place, but I tried. You gotta be resourceful. So ask for help. When your ego is too big for your mouth, you're never gonna succeed. You gotta ask for help. If you can't ask for help, Google, go on YouTube, okay? You can set daily message reminders to keep yourself resourceful. One of my clients said, what do I do in the evening when I want to binge and have chocolate? Well, pull out your bloody phone, go into the alarm, and set up an alarm every night to remind you at 9 o'clock, at 9:30, and at 10:30, you can do it. Don't binge. You're amazing. You set a goal. Don't be an ass. Go to bed. And if you have these reminders, it's going to be a resourceful unit you can use to get results. And then lastly, relentless. You need to try. You need to fail. You need to re-strategize and then try again. If you don't do that and you don't rinse and repeat and knock off any type of failures in your life as a bad thing, you're never going to get forward. You're never going to get past where you are. So if you tried to lose 30 pounds in the past and you're stuck, and you tried in your 20s, you tried in your 30s, and now you're 40, the minute you tell yourself, I don't think I can do this because I failed in the past, that's when you fail for life. Number 4 on the 6 tips to self-mastery after 40. You're gonna love this one, ready? Embrace the suck. One of the most important business coaches I've had that helped me out running my club and helping me get through COVID was a guy named Tim Lyons. And one of the important things that he kept saying to me during COVID, when I was in this club, the lights are out because we weren't collecting any money from our members. Our gym was shut down for 22 months. I was going through a spiral. I was refunding between $2,000 to $6,000 a day on people's memberships that they've purchased. And I tell people about my tattoo that I got that says happiness is a decision. I had to come up with a way to get through the suck. And Tim kept saying to me, Dimitri, you're in a bad jam. I'm in the US. The rules are different here, but you got to embrace the suck. You got to get through this area. It stuck to me like glue. And also when I think of another mentor, Tony Robbins of mine, and he says that life is full of seasons, okay? We got spring, we got summer, we got fall, we got winter. And when you think of your life and you start thinking of you're either in a good season or a bad season, you can mentally re-strategize and set yourself up to understand where you are so you don't become destructive. There's seasons of life where, like me, when I was going through the COVID-19 lockdowns, I was in winter. I was in hell. I was in here by myself contemplating, should I change my career? This happens in sports, this happens in business, this happens in relationships, and it happens in being a parent. Understand and be mindful of the curve of life you're at. Is it fall? Do you start seeing that things are starting to pop up? You know what? I'm not taking care of my health. I'm not watching what I'm eating. My blood pressure is increasing. My doctor told me that my blood sugars are going up, and I started getting a fatty liver. Well, if you're a man over 40, you got to smarten the hell up because winter's going to be right around the corner. And winter can be type 2 diabetes, stroke, atherosclerosis. It could be just you looking in the mirror and being disgusted of the man you are when you got a family and a wife. You're supposed to protect, provide, and be the promoter of health and wellness and happiness in your lifestyle. You also got to stop complaining and know that the suck is there to challenge you. It's not there to change you. It's there to challenge you. Think of this scenario. One of my mentors, Bedros Keuilian, talks about the orchid and the weed. Okay, you guys all know what an orchid is. Not even water. You got to put an ice cube in them. You can't give them too much light. You can't give them too much shade. If you put too much ice, water, they're going to die. Compare that to a weed that's in your home. That sucker, you can kill it, you can chop it, you can remove it, you can spray it, you can put whatever kind of fertilizer you want on it to kill it. But somehow that weed is going to break through concrete, through the side of your home, through the brick, through the fence, wherever you put it. And it's going to be relentless to get there. So remember, when it comes to life, don't be so anti-fragile. When shit hits the fan and you are not having everything go your way, stop, regroup, tell yourself what's happening right now. What are you feeling? Am I afraid? Am I scared? Am I overwhelmed? Am I confused? And then break that down even more. If you're afraid, what are you afraid of? Well, I'm afraid that if I start a fitness program, I'm going to fail. Why? Because I did it for the last 20 years and it's not working. Okay, what should we do? Something different? Yes or no? And when you hear that voice, go with the flow. Number 5, ready for this one? You can't buy success. Success is earned through sweat equity. Now, I don't mean physical sweat equity where you got to be dripping on a table. That's most of the cases. But in life, you got to remember that you need to earn something in order to be a master of it. So let me ask you a question. Why do you hear success stories of poor people, people that have come from trauma, people that have come from war? And then how do they become successful people that go on to beat that adversity and speak in front of thousands of people and write books? We've had members, and I'm sure my videographer is going to throw them up on the screen here, who've gone through before and afters. They've lost 50, 60, 104 pounds. Check this one out right here. Okay? Now, why does that happen? It happens through sweat equity. Success starts when you suck at something. So let me give you a part of my life where I've sucked and where I've improved. So I started off as a young kid, skinny kid. You'll see from some of these pics we're going to pop up here. I was teased as a young kid, but that led me to learning how to build my body and follow a somatotype approach, which now has become the body type system I've created to become better. Well, then I sucked as a bodybuilder because I started getting bigger, but I was skinny. I was 21 years old and I weighed like 170, right? I'm 196 now at 46, okay? I'm 11% body fat now, and back in my teens when I had no wife, no kids, no stress, no nothing, between 6 to 8%. So how can I compete? How can I still keep it that way? So as a skinny bodybuilder, I sucked, and then I took 9 years of competitions, 9 years of practice, 9 years of failure to get better. Then what happened? Well, I sucked as a coach again. Even though I was a natural drug-free bodybuilder, I became a coach. Again, I sucked. I was a beginner. I was a rookie. I started getting better. And then you go from being a shitty coach to 4 years of training, 10 clients a day, to becoming a successful manager at downtown big box corporate chains. I sucked. I put my time in and I became really well. I was a manager of 3 big clubs: Premier Fitness, Bally Total Fitness, and Extreme Fitness, right? And then again, what happened? I went from being this successful, gym owner in Toronto, managing 25 to 35 staff, overseeing, a club with 20,000 members, to again, being a senior manager, really, really good, to being a shitty entrepreneur. Because I got to start from scratch. When I quit and I started my own company, I was garbage. And I had to slowly build myself up. And then guess what? I got married. So again, I sucked. I wasn't a good husband. I wasn't the best guy because I didn't know what it's like to be a husband. At 24, I proposed to my wife. We got married. I believe at like 28, we had our daughter at 29. I didn't know what it's like to be a dad. I was a shitty dad. But guess what? I'm an amazing father now. I got a 17-year-old daughter, an 11-year-old son. I've been with my wife for 29 years. I met her at 18. I'm 46. We're never going to split apart. We got this tattoo here that says XV on our 15-year anniversary. We both have this on our wrist. That was 3 years ago. Now we're at like 18 years of marriage. My last tip for you to improve self-mastery is to find a mentor and invest in a coach. You don't know what you don't know. And too many people try to fix what they don't know. When you pay for things in life, you pay attention. Remember that. You pay attention. Human beings need one thing for true happiness, okay? And it's progress. If you're not progressing in life in the aspects that you care about, whether it's your job, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your writing, whether it's your mindset, whether it's your spiritualism, whatever it is, if you're not getting better every year, you're not going to be happier. And when you're not happy, you self-sabotage yourself. If you can't afford a coach, do what I did and become the best at bartering. I would go to this pool in the area, and they had coaches there. And there was coaches every day that would work on teaching the kids how to swim. And I fell in love with the butterfly. I was 10 years old. I said, I want to learn how to do that. So I went inside and I told these guys, can I clean? Can I do anything to work around here? I was selling them on being an apprentice at 10 years old. And they kept asking me, why are you here every day? Like, where's your mom? You come with a little bag of food. We see you eating in the change room. You're here for 5 hours. Where's your family? Like, where's your brother? I told them, my mom's at work, my brother's out with his buddies, and I really want to be a swimmer. So what did they say? They called my mom. They said, hey, we want to meet with you. Your son's been hanging around here day after day. We're going to bring him on board as an apprentice. And every summer, for 2 months, I would go check the chlorine levels, I would check the water, I would get them lunch, and in return, they mentored me. They taught me the breaststroke, the butterfly, the back crawl, the front crawl. And I was dominating kids in little school swim meets that we had from 10 to 14. Hence, when I went to high school at Weston Collegiate, when I was 14, I destroyed the whole swim program for 4 years. Why? Because I learned so much from my mentors and I didn't pay a thing. So if you don't have money, go to a coach, go to a club, go somewhere and see if you can offer help to get some help. Remember, if you pay money to get help from a coach, and they're going to give you a return on investment, which can improve your lifestyle and your family and your legacy. If you can get a return on investment now, it's worth it. And then last, I got a bonus one for you. Learn to physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually ground yourself. When I wake up in the morning, I have demons. When I go to bed at night, I have demons. Now, what are the demons? It's Frick and Frack on my shoulder. Frick is the guy that makes me nervous. Dimitri, your business isn't doing well this month. You got to grow your social media. You got to help people lose weight. You got to help your staff. You got to help your wife. You got to pay the mortgage. You got to pay the rent. You got to. And before I go to bed, he kicks in. He starts talking to me. He starts slithering all that nastiness to me. And guess what? You got a Frick as well. But Frack, this guy over here, this guy's the person who's like, bro, come on. Remember who you are. Your dad left you and you've accumulated so much in your lifestyle. So my family, my business, my staff, my members, they all ground me. They make me feel grateful in the morning. I went to 3 funerals in the last 35 days and I've seen 3 people be buried. And there's nothing more important than you and I having the ability to wake up every day and try again. Remember that. So I write a journal to my kids every morning. And if I can't do it every morning, I do it at nighttime. I put the date, I put the time, and I have a subject. And sometimes the subject is, I had a shitty day today. Or today's an amazing day. Or I give them a lesson. And I write 1 or 2 small pages of what I want my kids to know of today. I want them to know if I'm scared, if I'm afraid, if I'm happy, if I accomplished someone, if we had to let someone go, if we hired someone. Things in my life to ground me, to remind me that I'm a dad first and foremost. If it's just you sitting down with a cup of coffee, being quiet to ground yourself, do that. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have something every day to ground you to neutral, you're going to wake up with the demons. And when those demons take over, and this guy on your right shoulder starts to melt away, he's going to say, sorry, champ, I can't help you. You got too many guys on the shoulder. Hope you enjoyed this mini podcast on the 6 tips to help self-mastery for those over 40. My name is Coach Dimitri. If you're from the city of Vaughan, we have a beautiful facility, Pure Motivation Fitness, that has been here servicing men and women over 30 with kids that really want to step it up. They want to level up themselves and they want to become the best parents they can be and be part of a place where the coaches, community, and culture will make you be one. If you're a guy that's watching this right now and you're in a really tough place and you're trying to fix your career, you're trying to improve your family, you're juggling so many hats, I will personally help you balance fitness, food, and family without sacrificing your lifestyle with my online coaching program. And most importantly, I just want to thank you for sticking around, watching this video, and being able to help me support you, giving all my love and passion. Don't forget, subscribe, give me a like, and most importantly, give me a comment. I want to hear from you, whether it's good or bad, I don't care. That's all for now. See you in the next podcast. And remember, when it comes to health and fitness, your attitude is everything.